Headlines, trends, weather and travel getaways. It's Wake Up World on CEMTV. Headlines, trends, weather and travel getaways. It's Wake Up World on CEMTV.
A very good morning to you. Happy New Week, most importantly, and welcome to CEMTV's online trends of the Morning Pulse segment. I am Emmanuel Tamanor-Tenari, and of course, we need to start off by asking, how are you? I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and on Friday, we wished you a happy weekend. We hoped and prayed that you would enjoy yourself here on the Morning Pulse and online trends. We were like, we hope you go out, you know, either stay home or go out, watch a movie, go have some fun, relax, have a stress-free day. I hope that was the case. And I hope even if you did not have a stress-free day, you had at least a productive day, because there's a big difference between being stressed and being productive. You can be tired, but you're productive. And you can be tired and stressed, but you're not producing results. So I do hope even if you went to work, even if you had an engagement or two, I hope it was productive. I hope you saw the results you were looking for, and I hope you woke up on the right side of the bed this morning. Of course, I'm not doing it alone today. I have with me our weather oracle, Vera Philip. And of course, she's looking less of an oracle and more as a banker.
Less of an oracle.
Yeah.
This is a digital age. So the oracle needs to look digital.
Says the
You
oracle
can't
needs
find
to
me
look
in
digital.
bushes, we are taking over. Good morning, Nigeria. Of course, good morning. How are you doing today? I hope it's a great week, a great start of the week for you, wherever it is that you are. As Tammy has said, we're here to discuss what's trending, and this is me officially welcoming you to this segment of the Morning Pulse. I am Vera Philip. Okay, so let me take it back to Tammy. Tammy is the one with the stories for us this morning. What are we dissecting today? What's trending?
Well, a lot of things are trending, but one of them that caught my eye was the fact that famous actor and now politician Kenneth Okonkwo, he went on television to heavily criticize the removal of fuel subsidy by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. And he went on to list some details as to how that affected the people. I mean, it is quite evident and quite obvious. I'm sure off the top of your head, you can name at least 10 different reasons, or rather 10 different things that have increased, or 10 different problems that has arisen because of the removal of the fuel subsidy. But he had so much more to say. And here's a bit of that.
Let us first of all analyze where Nigeria is today so that we will appreciate the unsustainability of Tinubu's ill-advised removal of subsidy. The cost of fuel per liter today is about 1,300. A Nigerian that has a vehicle with 100-liter fuel tank would have to pay 130,000 naira to fill up his tank. 130,000 naira is almost 2 times the minimum wage of a Nigerian. Meaning 70,000 naira paid to a Nigerian can only afford him half tank of his vehicle. No rent, no food, no medical, nothing. That is why the IMF is telling you that more than 35 million Nigerians are struggling to feed. No responsible or compassionate leader will sit down and accept such level of induced poverty by this regime.
Now, the backlash from the APC administration would be to say that when you look at the statistics, when you look at the numbers, when you look at the reforms that that mandate gave, the economic reforms, how much the government has saved, how much has been accrued, how much has been realized, that it was a hard decision, yes, but a worthy decision. And of course, Kenneth Okonkwo had a bit more to say concerning, those particular takes. And here's what he had to say.
Forget what you're seeing on paper. George Sylvester made it clear that when a nation's growth rises on paper, but the people sink in hunger, that is not progress. That is polished poverty, wearing the mask of statistics. So what Tinubu is doing is afflicting Nigerian people with poverty, and they are using dubiously their Nigerian Statistics Bureau to polish it with statistics. You can see how the food price is rising, transport price is rising, everything is rising. What I am saying, because I am an economist, I read business administration, is that the definition of inflation is when the prices of goods are rising. So if the prices of goods are rising and you're telling us the inflation figure is going down, that is voodoo economics. But what I am saying is this. One day after Tinubu ill-advisedly removed subsidy, I said he should reverse it because this will be unsustainable. I said we were reckless in going into oil subsidy, and we ought not to be reckless coming out of it.
Well, he had some rather hard words to say, and one thing that resonates with, I believe, the people, because even on social media that was the case, was the fact that what he said was actually what was going on, because the price of things are phenomenal when you make some comparisons, which of course we're not going to do right here, because you as a listener, you as a watcher, both on YouTube and television, you know how much the things have risen. Some people are making the comparison as to how costs of, a crate of egg, a bag of rice, even transportation, has risen. And I would want to ask Vera, the concept of having good sheets, the concept of having good economic spread, but then the people are suffering, isn't that counterproductive? Because it's like, yes, the economy may be showing better numbers, yes, the government is saving more money, yes, the government is realizing more profit, but then if the people are not benefiting from it, isn't that like I said earlier, counterproductive and counterintuitive?
Are we actually, getting more profits as a country?
Oh yes, we are. The government is showing better numbers. They are saying, there was even a release earlier saying that the state government is realizing more money, so it falls on them to better. So there's a lot going on statistically. And with papers, yes, but like with the common life of the common man, no.
If it is not coming down to the life of a common Nigerian, then it cannot be considered as progress has been made. It cannot be considered as profit has been made. I do understand when, tax had told us that, the tax office had told us that, we have made more money, or we've gotten more from tax from January to June compared to the whole of last year. But at the same time, if it's not converting to make life easy for a common Nigerian, where is the profit going into? What is it going into? And as far as what Kenneth Okonkwo has said, I would agree with him, but of course he's coming from a political standpoint. But from a common Nigerian like myself, who of course is going by a day-to-day activity and knowing the cost of everything in the market, I definitely do agree with him. And to be honest, removing of fuel subsidy is not the problem. It's what happens afterwards.
Yes,
because guess what? The price of fuel rose from about 600 naira to 1,300. In some places, about 1,400 naira. Transportation is the basis of everything.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, to move from one place to another, to transfer goods and services, it needs transportation. So when the price of transportation actually goes up, best believe that every other thing will go up. So when we see 33 million Nigerians are back in poverty and are suffering from poverty, what exactly has the government done, or put in place to make sure that this, this number
to alleviate
increases?
it?
And he mentioned about, 70,000 naira being the minimum wage. First of all, what does the person earning 70,000 naira want a car for? At that point, you can't even afford a car. You can't afford a bag of rice. There's so many things you can't even afford, and it's not in the time where we could say 1,000 naira could feed you for a day. Now, even 5,000 naira cannot feed you for a day, And I'm talking about one person, a common person, because tell me exactly what you're going to buy in the morning, afternoon, and
You
night.
know, I love that, because
That's
if
going
I were to
to,
give an example of something
yeah.
that happened just this morning, you know, I had made my hair, I'd newly made my hair. And when my mother asked me, you know, like, oh, you know, because there was some mishap, you know, somewhere. So she was asking me, why would you go to this place? Da, 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 da. So when she asked me, how much do you even pay? And I told her the price. She was shocked, because she was like, no, last I remember they make hair, you know, because she is a very reserved person. She prefers not to make her hair. She hasn't done that in like
Yes.
several years. So she was like, no, now it shouldn't be up to. And I was like,
Yeah.
ha, no.
Welcome, ma.
Welcome, exactly. Thank you very much. Welcome to the present
Welcome,
day.
ma. It's like
And
you're
it
not
shocked
here.
her, because she was like, oh, what about this other person we know? I said, that was the person I came from. And it was 1,500 naira more expensive than this person. You know, so I had surveyed. I had really surveyed and asked around, and the prices were crazy. This
Yeah.
person was the person that accepted the lowest price, and it's mostly because this is someone I grew up with. You know, that's why she accepted to do it at this price that I know, okay, at the very least, it will be affordable. I
Yeah.
can get it done consistently. And it's also business on her end, because every month, at least, she's expecting me consistently. You know, so that is an example, a real life example from my point of view of how fast or how high the price of things have risen.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to add that to what you were saying.
So honestly speaking, I think that it is not something that we have to like talk and talk and talk about. However, I do think that we should show the government how much it is that Nigerians are suffering. You know, maybe even as journalists, we can go into villages, into the trenches, into, you know, these places that, you know, might not be seen or might not be presumed that there's so much hunger and, you know, thirst there. We can go to these places and make sure that we're making it visible. Some TV does that, absolutely. We have one
We
of
have
our
Street
programs,
Hustle.
Street
Yeah.
Hustle, that actually goes down to these slum places and shows you exactly what Nigerians are going through. So maybe we are not in tune with the reality, but 33 million, more than 33 million Nigerians are poor. And how many Nigerians do we have in total? You know, so this calls on everything that needs to be done to help the Nigerian or the common Nigerian to be able to live an easier life. And if we are making profits, like Tammy said, or if our tax is beginning to, you know, give us more
The
in
papers are out there.
our
They are
treasury
the ones that
than you
release
know
the charts
than it
and the
used to
results.
before, and it is not, you know, turning into progress for Nigerians, then there is no, what is the conversation about? Let's know exactly what it is we are doing with this money or with this growth that we have seen, so that Nigerians can feel like, okay, there's actually economic growth going on, because it doesn't feel like it anymore. Once there is high price of transportation, it brings down it brings down every other thing. Every other thing is affected, as a matter of fact. So yes, this is a conversation that we need to have, though I don't think that we need to keep talking about it, because the government is also aware. But if they are feigning ignorance to the situations that Nigerians are going through, it's okay, like, we'll show you, right, what Nigerians are going through that you probably are not aware of, maybe because of, you know, the sector where you live or where it is that you have,
Honestly
you know,
speaking,
placed
for
yourself.
me, in as much as the idea of going around to get, you know, the word out there is something that we already do, it's something that's advised, but these individuals cannot say they're not aware, because we have social media. You know, social media is everywhere, and these people are on social media. They have social media accounts. We have trends going on about people talking about the price of goods and services. We have individuals that complain. We have individuals, I mean, even before they raised, you know, the alawi of the NYSC core members, it was social media that facilitated that. I mean, of course, the moves were already on the way, but of course, it was the cry of someone on social media that cemented the fact that this needs to change. So they are aware, if you ask me. But, you know, like Vera said, we can talk about it for as long as possible, and it's a matter that still exists and will continue to exist if nothing is done about it. Well, you know, we're going to take the bitter taste out of your mouth with a good story that we're going to round up with, and it is of our forces found in the airport coming back from a mission. And of course, the Nigerian people there were applauding them because, of course, they came back from a mission, and one would assume that it was a mission well done. So here's that heartwarming video. You know, it's beautiful, it's awesome, and it's heartwarming to see our security personnel receiving the love that they deserve. Because honestly speaking, they've had a bad rap, you know, both from the bad eggs within the force and from the people's perception as well. Sometimes they are exaggerated claims, and sometimes they are, you know, true claims from documented experiences. But the fact remains that these individuals are responsible for protecting the lives, properties, and sovereignty of the Nigerian nation as a whole. So this is more than, you know, this is, should I say, less than what they deserve. This is the minimum. This is how I believe those in the force should be appreciated. Those in our military should be appreciated, because for someone to make up their mind that they're willing to give the ultimate price, to give their life to protect you and to protect me, is, you know, it's unimaginable. It's a love, you know, greater love hath no man. And of course, in as much as the applauds are welcome, I would also want, you know, better living to be brought for them as well. I do hope that the government enables or creates an enabling environment for them to make gains, for their families to live well, and for, of course, those that have lost their life during the fight against insecurity, that their families are well taken care of, that their families are kept, and to, of course, ensure that if they have children left, that their education and welfare will be taken care of. I think that goes beyond what the applause should stand for. Yes, the applause should stand for job well done. But I believe as they're going home, as they're going to the base, as they're going to wherever they're going to, they need to go to a place where they have rest of mind. The base should be well kept. They should have the amenities they need. They should be well fed. They should be well entertained. Everything they need should be put in place for them. Not a situation of, after the applause, they go to the base and they start living in squalor. They go to the base and they're thinking, how is my family going to take care? How is the welfare of my daughter? How are my children's welfare going to be seen to? You know, for them to have those thoughts, they won't be able to focus on the well-being and their duty to protecting the well-being of the nation. So, Vera, as we round up, what are some things you would say can be, you know, added to the welfare of these individuals to ensure that they are well taken care of, and to ensure that the decision they've made to sacrifice themselves or put themselves in harm's way for our protection is worth it?
First of all, I just want to commend the first few people that actually, you know, started clapping when they walked in, because obviously you could see that, you know, some people, very few people were clapping before others joined. You know, they actually deserve this encouragement. And as for what our military, you know, individuals need, at the end of the day, they say who wears the shoes know where it pinches. So I do believe that they are in the best position to answer those questions. What do they need? You know, what is it that they are lacking that could improve their own, you know, services, even down to their family in case of any casualties. What exactly it is they need, they are the ones who can explain that more, down to equipment, down to rifles, down to, you know, even their family members. The military are the ones who know that, and we just hope that they are heard, you know, that their concerns as well are met, and that every other thing, you know, will fall in place as we are trying to upskill the economy, take care of Nigeria's education. We should also look at our security, you know, decorations as well, and see what it is that they lack, and see how we can really be of help, provide for them, so that at the end of the day we can hold them accountable and not make excuses, or they cannot make excuses when they are not doing their job.
Well, that's the most we can take on the online trends this morning. Coming up next will be CEMTV News Dissect, where Francis Oima Edit and Mwigwa Bariswa will be here to dissect, as the name implies, some stories for your analysis and for your listening pleasure and information. I am Emmanuel Tamanot Henry, and of course, I'll see you in Jolly Life.
Headlines, trends, weather and travel getaways. It's Wake Up World on CEMTV.